Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Michelle Fondin and I'm the author of Twin Flame Romance, The Journey to Unconditional Love, available in paperback, Kindle, and Audible books. And I wanted to mention this book because it's very pertinent to the times. Enlightened Medicine, Your Power to Get Well Now, an integrative approach to healing the 7 deadly lifestyle diseases. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Thank you for subscribing below. Click on that bell. Scroll up to all for all notifications and give the video a thumbs up. I do readings. I do 30, 60, and 90-minute readings, twin flame romance, life path and purpose, career, general readings. You can book that at fondinwellness.com during this time of quarantine. This is the last day of this week. We're doing a charity each week. It's feedingamerica.org. For every 30-minute reading booked, I'm donating $5. For every 60 and 90-minute reading, I'm donating $10. Again, you can go to my website, fondinwellness.com. This is the weekly Twin Flame Tarot reading, messages for Divine Masculine, Divine Feminine, and the couple. I will put the timestamp below for when the reading itself begins. I always give my little update, coaching, and pep talk right before the actual reading. And welcome, guys. How has your week been? I had predicted last Monday, in fact, a week ago, that it would be a little bit of a challenging week for Twin Flames this week. And I don't know how that played out for you guys, but this is a new week. Today is April 20th, 2020. For this upcoming week, I really feel like this is going to be a much, much better week on an emotional level at least, and a spiritual level, and just the morale in general. There is the new moon on the 25th, and that's a very auspicious new moon, and I really feel like there is something changing right around the corner so that your mood can indeed start to lift and things can start to feel a little bit lighter just in general. I just wanted to make a comment on intellectualizing the matter of the world affairs and problems that are going on versus taking a more spiritual approach. One thing I have noticed, and of course in every crisis we always notice something of this sort, that any type of crisis, any type of thing that creates a lot of fear is very polarizing. It usually, in a lot of ways, tends to divide people. In many ways, it brings people together, but oftentimes it divides people. It makes people create statements like us versus them, and look what they are doing. Look at what those people are doing. In this country, in the United States of America, it's often, look at what the Democrats are doing. Look at what the Republicans are doing. Look what this party is doing. Look what this party is doing. And it has a tendency to create a lot of division, and even a lot of division among friends and division among family members. Now, one thing we need to keep into perspective as this twin flame community, as this community who is more on a spiritual path, who is more on a path toward enlightenment, who is on the path toward unconditional love, what we must remember is that it's not us versus them. It's not me versus you. It's we. It literally is we, because we are one humanity. As human beings, we all have the same universal human needs. It doesn't matter what side of the political spectrum you fall on. It doesn't matter what country, race, social status, or whatever you happen to fall into. We are one humanity. And as one humanity, we have the same basic human, physical, emotional, and spiritual needs. That is just a universal truth. Therefore, it's not helpful when we have a tendency to go into great divisions of political views, when we go into great divisions of social views, when we go into great divisions of, oh, look what they're doing, look what these people are doing, look what these people are not doing, or even chastising your friends, neighbors, and family members for not having the same points of view about a similar matter as you do yourself. So that's just something I want you guys to keep into perspective this week, especially as we go in many places in my place included, as we are full on into week 5 of quarantine. And believe me, this is hard for me too. I haven't seen my son. I was supposed to see him on April 3rd. Today is April 20th. I'm not able to see him. His father will not let him take an airplane. And so instead of trying to battle it out with the legal system, we kind of came to some compromise. But when there seems to be no visible end in sight to the quarantine, it can be very anxiety provoking. And of course I want to see my kid. And I've been alone in my apartment for the last 4 to 5, like I said, we're well into week 5 here, but close to 5 weeks, not seeing another human being in my physical presence. So yeah, I understand that for so many people, we respond to stress differently. We respond to things that are happening around us differently. We respond to our own stress response differently. But we need to remember that we are one humanity. It's easy to point the finger at others and say like, oh, you're doing A, B, or C things, or you're not always wearing a face mask, or you're not always social distancing, or you're not always this, or you're not always that. It's just pointing the fingers. But remember, every time you point the finger at somebody else, 4 fingers are pointing back at you. And that is always the truth, correct? That it's so easy to judge others and where they're at. It's not always easy to take a look at ourselves and where we're at, and believing that you have the universal truth versus somebody else. It may or may not be so. I don't know. So that's my little talk for this week, and helping you just to stay in an empathetic mindset. That's what I'm really hoping that can come out of this, is just hoping that you can have a little bit more empathy for the people that don't think similarly to you, or who aren't perhaps taking the social isolation or quarantine as serious as you are. Or maybe you're on the opposite side of the spectrum. Maybe it's you need to be with people, and maybe people are criticizing you for not taking it seriously, or vice versa. So everybody has their own perspective on things, and we need to stay in a place of empathy. So with no further ado, we're going to begin our readings. This week we're working with, of course, the Angel Tarot. We're working also with the Angel Therapy cards, because I believe we can all use a little bit of therapy this week after 4 to 5 weeks of quarantine. I'm going to say a blessing over the cards. Dear God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, Mother Mary, Archangels, Angels of God, Twin Flames, Guardian Angels, Romance Angels, please help us. We're going to start with the Divine Feminines. Please help the Divine Feminines of this collectivity know what they need to know this week. Twin Flame Angels and Guardian Angels of the Divine Feminine Collective, please help us to understand what are the messages you are bringing to us this week. So we're going to start with Divine Feminines, the Goddesses, and we're going to pick one from the Angel Therapy cards. I really like these cards. They're pretty. They have nice messages. Divine Feminines. What do Divine Feminines need to know from the Angel Therapy deck? Perfect. Now we're going to go to our beautiful Divine Masculines. What do they need to know? Divine Masculine, Guardian Angels, Romance Angels, Twin Flame Angels, help us understand what they need to know for this week. What is the general energy? Okay, and Angel Therapy for Divine Masculines. What do Divine Masculines need to know for their therapy to heal for this week? Okay, now for the Twin Flame couple, let's get the energetic read for the Twin Flame couple for this week of this collective. Romance Angels, Twin Flame Angels, please help us to know what this energy is for this week. Perfect. And we are getting the Angel Therapy for the couple. Angel Therapy for the couple, the Twin Flame couple for this week. Okay, now we're going to go to the Romance cards. So let's get the Romance energy for the Twin Flame couple for this week. And let's get one from the Messages of Love. Again, this deck kind of reinforces or validates the Romance deck as well. For the Twin Flame couple, angels and guides, Archangel Michael, stand guard. And now these are messages from the Divine Masculine to the Divine Feminine of what is in their heart space. What is in the Divine Masculine's heart space when it comes to their Divine Feminines? What would they like to say to them this week? Okay, let's start with the Divine Feminines. Wow, we've got the Moon card. It is a Divine Feminine card, you guys. Archangel Haniel, which helps with that Divine Feminine lunar yin energy. This is actually perfect. It's perfect for this week. Remember how I stated that this week we have that auspicious new moon on the 25th? This is a very, very deep energy. It's very deep, and it indicates secrets being revealed. It indicates things that were previously hidden are starting to come out into the open. Now, this could literally mean Divine Feminine secrets about yourself or your hidden desires or your shadow energy coming to light and being revealed as you push forward and move forward. It could be something regarding your pairing with your twin flame that is opening up and coming forward. It can also indicate heightened psychic abilities during this time of the new moon, of course, and also just this week in general, those heightened psychic abilities. So it's really good to pay attention and write down things like your dreams, write down the signs that you're receiving throughout this week, and write down your feelings and emotions too, because the moon is about emotions. That's your emotional life. So let's start writing down our feelings for this week, not judging them, but allowing them to come through for this week. And this is going to help you. This is the God box. I love this exercise. I've been doing this exercise for years. The God box is taking like an empty box, could be a shoe box, a Kleenex box that doesn't have Kleenex in it, and you can decorate it, you can paint it, whatever you want to do. But it's sort of like an intentions box for your letters to God, your intentions to God. And it's writing your worries, your cares, your intentions, your desires, what is on your heart, what's in your heart space, what's in your emotional space. It's a cleansing and clearing activity that you are handing over everything to God. You're handing over your most precious secrets to God. So whatever comes up with the moon card, you're then going to write it down and place it in the box. Place it in the God box. And it's let go and let God. Okay, as I mentioned for myself, quarantine time, in general, I'm a very, very positive person. I'm a very optimistic person. I'm able to look at the bigger global picture of things. And that's probably one of the reasons that I'm able to do these videos and help you also to see the bigger, more global picture of things. I love it because it's truly a gift that I've been given to be able to do this. Not everyone's able to do it. Not everyone is, or it takes more practice. It takes, it's so hard to keep positive and optimistic and stay in that positive mindset and look at the bigger global picture. So for a lot of people, it's a struggle. It's really hard to do that. For me, I've been really blessed, and I can say it's a gift from God that I've been blessed to be able to do that. But let me just tell you that this has been trying because it's not something that's common, nor has these past 5 weeks been something that we could have necessarily foreseen or expected or even necessarily mentally prepared for, if you will. And we were just kind of thrown into it. We were thrown into the deep waters and said, now you sink or swim. And that's really emotionally for most of us what has happened. It's like we didn't even have time to reflect. We didn't even have time to necessarily make conscious choices on this. That, as an example, had I had the foresight a couple of weeks prior to this happening that my son's school would be canceled and, maybe there would be tentative plans around flying, that perhaps I could have flown him out the week or two before the quarantine happened. But of course we didn't have that prior knowledge. We didn't know what was going to happen. Now it truly is, for most of us, it's truly like this sink or swimming feeling of just having to cope with it, just having to cope with what has happened in this reality that we are currently living in. For the divine masculines, well, they have had so much progress in the way of their own spiritual development and the way of their own beginning to trust in the universe, beginning to trust in God. And for many in this divine masculine collective, and I'm just speaking to that because you guys know, if you are a divine feminine listening to this, you know that your spiritual awakening has been something that happened earlier on in the twin flame connection. And it's something that has taken time to unfold as time has moved forward. And for the divine masculines, many of them have had this spiritual awakening happen to them, of course. But it has also, in the same way that it took time for you to unfold, it's taking time for the spiritual awareness to unfold in them as well. When you have anything that's new, that makes you have to trust a higher source, a higher power, a lot of that higher power source and trust can be testing. It can be like testing the waters of, hey God, are you really there? Are you really there? Are you really there for me? Am I really trusting in something bigger than myself? And that takes time to develop that sense of trust in the relationship. For many of these divine masculines who've been newly thrown into this sense of spirituality, when some of them may have had, you know, maybe a religious upbringing or quasi-religious upbringing, and for many of them, no sense of religious upbringing or spiritual upbringing at all, they were kind of thrown into this, and now they're like, oh my God, what is this new thing that I'm feeling? And then now in the past 5 weeks, we've had a damper put on things where it's been this downer, if you will. And so if you are new as a new believer in God, if you are new as a new believer in a higher source or a higher power, and then something like this happens, it really tests your faith. And you're like, okay, if there is a God, if there is a higher power, why the hell is this happening? And it can cause you very much to move back into that sense of not having faith, because the cynicism and the skepticism that comes with not having faith seems like a safer place to be in. Seriously, it seems safer because at least there was some certainty there. And I believe that's where, unfortunately, that's where many of the divine masculines are going this week. It's going to end up turning around because of the astrological events that are going to happen toward the end of the week. But as for the beginning of the week, they are not moving forward. So the Seven of Air is about a delay. It's about taking a wrong turn and moving backward a little bit. It's moving backward towards your past. And a lot of times it has to do with timing. It's just poor timing to move forward. And a lot of times it's that getting caught up in that cycle of fear. It's getting caught up in that cycle of that which is newfound, this newfound path. We're going to second guess that a little bit. We're going to take a couple steps backward and just kind of rethink this again. It's not based out of anything logical, even though this is a card of thought, but it's based on fear, because we have Archangel Michael coming in here saying, vacuum away that fear. They're living a lot in that fear-based mode. For some of them, it could be completely valid, because perhaps they were making plans to move forward with that new job, that new promotion, moving away from their relationships that we had spoken about, moving forward and moving on into this greater spiritual sense of awareness. And in the last 5 weeks, the kibosh has been put on those plans. And it's more like in the first couple of weeks, they're like, oh, okay, you know what? I can stay home for 15 days. That's all good. We can do this. Anybody can do this. Easy peasy. 15 days, we're good. But as time has gone on and there's been a lot more uncertainty about when is this going to end? When is this going to end? When is this going to end? That they have fallen into disbelief and they have fallen into kind of a sense of despair, feeling like they're going backward to their old ways. And it's tough, but I really feel strongly, I honestly feel strongly that by the end of this week, by the 25th, things are going to look a little bit different. But of course, the end of the week, and according to what we're reading for, is really the 27th, so next Sunday. But by the 25th, things will start to look a little brighter. And then by the 27th, things will really start to look like there is light at the end of the tunnel. Now, it's funny because I have for the couple the partnership card. The Two of Fire is about partnerships. I'm going to hold this card up because this makes a lot of sense. The workshops and seminars, this is teaching. I feel that for the twin flame couple, there is going to be some sort of big creative ideas surrounding work that the couple can do together. This is work that the twin flame couple can do together. There's going to be a birth of ideas, a birth of creative ideas that are being sparked in both of your minds. Now, this happens whether you guys are in reunion, physical reunion, or whether you guys are in separation or kind of on again, off again. Because of course, twin flames share a very strong sense of telepathy. And I almost feel like this week, as part of that creativity, there's going to be this brainstorming session, whether in the 3D or 5D, there's going to be this really strong brainstorming session on what can we do together that gets our creative juices flowing, that helps us to work together under some capacity. Now, it could be literally doing workshops and seminars, or it could be doing a blog or a vlog, or it could be doing literally a small business, like a traditional bed and breakfast, not an Airbnb, but like a traditional bed and breakfast, as an example. But I really see you guys having these creative ideas that's going to help you move forward with these ideas collectively between the two of you when you move forward together. And I really feel it's kind of like during this time of quarantine, like I said, even if you're not in communication, you're both going to be thinking it. And then when you finally talk in person, you're going to be like, oh yeah, so yeah, during quarantine. So I had this weird idea about something that we might do together. And you know, it might sound really weird. And then they're going to go like, oh my God, I had the exact same idea. And then you're just going to chuckle to yourself because you're going to remember what I said. I love this. So this is the romance energy. This could be the one. You've already found the romantic partner that you seek. I love it. Just validation, more validation for both of you, for the divine feminine and for the divine masculine, more validation. And as I mentioned here about the healing, what's coming up with the moon card, what's coming up with the Seven of Air card, bringing up remaining issues. And this is a constant. And don't think like, I know, okay, let me say something about healing, because I don't want you guys to feel like it's always a constant process of healing. Meaning, I don't want you to feel like you're consistently broken. And it's like, I'm broken, they're broken. Oh my God, will this healing ever stop? When will this end? I need you to look at this as just something that is a reminder of just the little lessons that we learn in everyday life. Please don't look at it as something that is impeding your path to being with your twin, because that's not always the case. It could just simply be the case that in tough times, in these times during quarantine, that some of these things that have been lingering on your mind and your heart and your energy field about certain insecurities, childhood issues and wounds, things like that, that in these quiet spaces, just these things are being brought up. And that's bound to happen. It really is bound to happen, because when you're in the hustle and bustle of daily life, when you're in the busyness of daily life, you Who has time to think about these things? I don't have time to think about these things. Really beautiful, really beautiful messages from Divine Masculine to Divine Feminine this week, you guys. Oh, I love this. So true, so true, so true. I hid you from who I really am. I think that's what it says. I hid who I really am from you, and we will be together again. We will be together again. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. They know. They know, and you know. You've always known it. You've always known it. And I think that's part of the reason why the Divine Masculines are having this 7 of Air energy now, as well as just the loss of the newfound faith a little bit, that wavering faith. That it's tough. It's tough when you see a lot of despair, when you see a lot of strife, when you see a lot of uncertainty, and your newfound freedom into having a higher power. It can be tough when you're like, well, where are you, God? Where are you? And God as our CEO looks very different than a human CEO or a human president or a human prime minister or a human leader. God as a CEO looks very different. God as a CEO is more like, have faith in me, trust. Take that leap of faith, and I will show you my great works. It's not the other way around. It's not like, let me show you my great works, and then you can have faith. God works the opposite way. I really believe that this is good news. It's good news about what is in the Divine Masculine's head and heart space. It's good news about the Divine Feminines learning to renew their faith in God, having trust in God, and also revealing those hidden emotional secrets within themselves and being able to let go and let God, like give that over to God. And a little bit of planning for the future with those creative ideas for the twin flame couple are amazing. It's amazing because most twin flames will work together under some capacity. It could be a home-based business. It could be building an actual business. But there will be some sort of work that most twin flame couples are doing together. And it's amazing just to spread around the love and your gifts and talents. It's really, really nice. I hope this gives you a little more love for this week. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for subscribing to my channel below. Click on that bell, scroll up to all for all notifications, and give the video a thumbs up. Thank you for sharing this video with other twin flames. And thank you so much for supporting this YouTube channel. You can buy a book or 2 or 3. You can also pledge your support on Patreon. Hey, listen, if you have not yet joined Patreon, honestly, you don't have to subscribe for a year, but the podcasts are so much fun and a great resource for you. It's a little extra content for you. You get your own little mini reading. You can get your questions answered. There is a pledge of $25 and more to participate in the actual podcast with your questions and getting a reading. But honestly, it's worth it. It's worth it. We get a lot more candid during the podcasts. So it's www.patreon.com/Michelle S. Fondin, and I will see you in the next video.